Hey, this is Josh Thompson. Thanks again for listening. If this content is encouraging to you, it would mean the world to us if you would rate the podcast. Your rating will help more people find the show. You can also journey with us by subscribing to our channel. And if you share it on social media, please feel free to tag me and our guests. We appreciate when you share this podcast with those you know. We are believing it will continue to stoke the fire in people again. Special thank you to Landmark Coffee Roasters, a sponsor for this podcast. If you haven't tasted their coffee, you got to go check it out. They got the best beans in Southern California. Go to landmarkroasters.com. Type in promo code STOKEHOUSE to get 20% off. That's landmarkroasters.com. Special thank you to Ola Canvas, a sponsor for this podcast. They build super durable, high-quality clothing out of Costa Mesa, California. Ola Canvas is a small business of creators making some of my favorite clothing and products on the planet because they take time to build each piece and make it with high-quality material. Check them out at olacanvas.com. That's O-L-A canvas.com. Welcome to the Stoked House. Time to get fired up. Yee! Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Muresan in the Stoked House. Dude, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Alex, you are a tennis professional, playing pro for 2 years at a high level, and one of my good friends from high school. 4 years of college. You guys won the Nationals at Azusa in 2005. First time in school history you took the team for the win. We grew up at Ramona High School in Riverside, California together. And I would sneak over to the tennis courts after football season was over and see you crushing the ball, acing the court. A lot of people don't know this, but you had one of the coolest cars in high school. It was a 1980-something Porsche. You said 86, is that right?
86, yeah.
A 944.
Yeah, Pop's car.
Yeah, the thing was sick. And you were also an incredible artist. Sketching, painting, murals, spray paint, you do it all.
Yes.
You had the opportunity to train at a really high level in tennis and now train many in Los Angeles. And when we planted Legacy almost 10 years ago in Los Angeles, magically one day you showed up at the door. And I'm like, what? And what I love most about you, brother, is your genuine desire to worship God and love people. Your creative mind has an amazing way of looking at the Creator. And it's been a joy to see you grow in Christ and loving and serving the church all these years. Dude, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that nice intro, Josh.
Yeah. So, dude, 2001, really 99.
Yeah.
We go all the way back. 90, 98, 99, 98.
98.
Freshman year, we go all the way back to freshman year in high school. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the first time we met. I mean, I probably stumbled over to I don't know, probably stumbled over the tennis courts at some time.
Yeah. We might have had a biology class in freshman year.
Yes.
Was it Steckline?
Yeah, Steckline.
There it is.
Yeah.
That was, I think, our first...
Honors bio.
Yeah, there it is.
Honors bio.
Yeah.
That was a fun class.
It was. A lot of fun.
Steve Steckline.
Steve Steckline.
Shout out to Mr. Steckline if you're still near. Dude, he, no joke, after high school, he invited us, me, Julia, Harley, I had a couple other people, like over to his house.
Oh, nice.
And we had like lunch or dinner. It's all coming back to me right now. That's crazy. Cool. And yeah, that was wild because I hadn't seen him in forever. But probably one of the coolest teachers on campus, huh?
A lot of fun. Yeah, I learned a lot. I love science, so he made it fun.
Yeah.
Kept it, I don't know, it was like he was always joking and had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Easy to learn.
And we dissected a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
We got into it. Yeah, we had like real taxidermy like stuff show up, and they were like sitting in like some
formaldehyde or something.
Yeah, some nasty like liquid.
Yeah.
And like you would open it up and then like
smell.
Oh my gosh.
Real pungent smell.
I can still smell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steckline had a way of like teaching, and that was like one of the funnest classes to be in. That definitely always look forward to honors bio in high school. So wow, even way back when, dude, I mean, everybody was in that class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun class. And then did you immediately start playing tennis, like right in high school? Is that how you stepped in?
I started in like middle school, like seventh grade, 8th grade.
Okay.
Is when I picked up the racket. And then by the time I was in high school, I was already like pretty much into it.
Yeah.
You know? And met with the high school coach beforehand.
Yeah.
Kind of let him know like, hey, I'm going to be showing up here freshman year.
Yeah.
Interested in the team, like kind of just had a little meet and greet beforehand. And then, I just hit the courts running.
Yeah.
We did the tryouts. I was able to play well and, pretty much beat everyone on the team. And locked up the number 1 boys singles.
Wow. How tall were you at this point?
It's hard to say. 6'5", now minus like 15, 16 inches.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Oh, dude.
I was average height. I was average height.
So you're 5'5", 5'6" as a freshman?
5'6", probably, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then, but you had already been training prior in junior high, and then you stepped into high school, and you took over the court there. Again, I remember coming over, and like my goal was, I think I had met Brian, because Brian was playing football, but Brian also wanted to play tennis.
Yeah.
Brian was my Brian Huynh. Shout out Brian Huynh.
Shout out Brian.
And Brian Fry, we called him in high school. You can ask him why we called him that. And anyways, he was my center. I was playing quarterback for my freshman year, and he was center. And so anyways, I started coming over to the tennis courts, and my goal was just to like hit the ball as hard as I possibly can. I remember.
Just launch it.
Yeah, and you guys are just like, dude, it's not about that. It's like we're
keep it in the boundaries.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, I'm going to crush it, like trying to swing it like a baseball bat or something. But anyways, that's how the connections started to happen. And you, again, all 4 years in high school, playing at Ramona, doing all the sports stuff, playing at a high level.
Yeah.
And goofing off. Goofing off.
Some of the best years of my life.
Yeah. That was fun. And you brought the yearbook.
I did.
You brought our senior yearbook. Absolutely wild. I know you can see that on the camera. But that I don't have one of these.
Yeah. We'll share it.
I don't have any yearbooks. We were never able to purchase them. We didn't have the cash to be able to do it when I was a kid. And so I always looked at everybody else's yearbook, but it's really weird, like seeing
hard copy, right?
Yeah, seeing the yearbook and reminiscing on all the people and all the stuff. And high school for me was like a social experiment. Mm-hmm. I didn't really go there to learn, even though I was supposed to.
Same.
Yeah, I was just goofing off, like just trying to have a good time.
Yeah,
playing football. We did banking and finance academy. I did student government, and I was just involved on all these different levels. And I didn't know it though. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah, kind of a blur.
Yeah, like I think I was involved in Avid too. Mm-hmm. Got involved at young, my freshman or sophomore year. But I think people just asked me to do things. Obviously, we did the Bible club too, like towards my like junior or senior year.
Right.
People just asked me to do things, and then I just started doing it.
Yeah.
Were you just overwhelmed by just fully engulfed in tennis?
Just tennis, pretty much tennis only. Yeah. Training 5 to 6 days a week.
Wow.
So, I mean, church on Sundays and stuff. But other than that, hitting the courts and just kind of doing what my coach told me to do.
Yeah.
I had to kind of catch up a little bit in terms of sports and tennis, because in terms of tennis, it's like most kids are taking lessons at 5, 6, 7. And I picked it up when I was like 11 or 12. So, make up for lost time. So but I got into it though.
So were you training after practice was done at school?
We do the tennis team practice, have a match, home or away, and then usually hit afterwards if it wasn't, too long of a day.
Yeah.
So just a lot of hours,
Did you have a coach on the side, like helping train you, or how were you getting such high level training?
Yeah. You remember RCC?
Yeah.
So my dad, originally I got into it because my dad just kind of picked it up. He was taking some clinics with some buddies that he knew. Mm-hmm. And one day he's like, you want to come and check out what I do once a week, Mm-hmm. Tennis was always one of the sports that he wanted to pick up when he was still in Romania.
Okay.
And he came here. He's like, hey, let's do this. So I went out there with him a few times, and then I was like, this is kind of fun. Looks kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And so I did a couple classes, and then after that, the rest is history. So yeah, it was just a lot of time on the courts though, training and trying to get as good as possible.
We got to see some of these pictures of you in high school, okay? And this is fun. So you brought the yearbook with you, and we got all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. Let me pull these up. Yeah. So here it is. Alexandru
Muresan.
Playing for the boys team all 4 years, being able to compete against other schools. You look young there.
Yeah, no facial hair.
Is this is senior year?
Senior year.
Dude, wild, man. We just look so young, you know?
Yeah.
We got a couple other ones here. Let me see these. Here we go. This you playing here on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Discussing different techniques. More with the tennis team. Here we go. Yep, towering. The hat on.
That's so funny.
Is this you here?
Look at that follow through.
Hey, you want to critique this form? What do you think?
I like the extension. Good positioning. I probably hit a winner on this. I won the point.
Looks good. And team captain gives me opportunity to encourage teammates to play their best. Captain of the team, leading the charge.
Yeah.
So you brought the yearbook, and so these are all your tennis picks, and then your senior photo. These are other ones that we found in here of me. Look, this is classic. We got serious Josh Thompson hairstyle. I know, it doesn't even look like me, but that's my senior photo. And then here's me goofing off in USB student government. And here's some football team picks here. Yeah, this is me, number 12. I'm
Look at that jawline.
I'm locked in there. Yeah, looking a little rough, pixelated for sure, but yeah, those are good times. And I think there's one more there, just to the back. I've got bleached hair in this picture. I think I fully bleached out my hair all blonde, and yeah, you know, like when you like put the stuff in your hair and like it stays in like hours too long, and then like starts to like burn your head.
Fall out.
Yeah, yeah, I think we did that just to be funny. But anyways, it's wild looking back on high school and seeing all these pictures. You know what, Ramona High School, again, it was a fun season. I always thought that like we hit golden years or something with like, you know what I mean? Like our year, there were such unique figures and people like all the way through the campus. In 2001, 01, we had such a good time. All the games, all the bands, you know, going, the band playing. And I just think about homecoming and all the different things happening throughout the year. But yeah, I don't know. I only have glimpses like of memories that I want to remember. And then maybe like I have a couple negative ones that maybe I want to forget. Yeah. But they're just going to be there. So it's almost like the memories that are just burned into the memory. Yeah. But it's not like I can just, I don't know, maybe I can pull up stuff because like I just remembered Steckline. Yeah. Which, you know, I didn't, and I remember all my classes, but I remember these glimpses that I think maybe I make up or like storylines that I make up that I want to remember. Yeah.
Well, you got the yearbook. You can reflect on that.
Dude, man, now we got the real deal. Yeah. But yeah, you were driving the 1986 Porsche in high school. Yeah. Little 2-seater coupe. Yeah. Right? It had a back seat though, right?
Small. Bucket seats. Yeah. Yeah. Leather interior.
Yeah. And 944.
Yeah. Fun car. European car.
You said it ran pretty well.
Ran pretty well, rear wheel drive.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you could get up on that thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Was it manual?
It was manual.
Hey. Yeah. That's fun.
It's the only way.
Yeah. So you could spin those tires if you wanted.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
Behind the scenes. Sorry, Dad.
Dad hooked him up in the car. You were telling me, how'd you get your hands on this car?
So got my driver's license, but then when it came time to, you know, get myself around more, we basically made a bet. He made a bet. He proposed like, hey, we play a tennis match. You know, you beat me in a set and it's all yours. So I took that bet and I got the car.
Yes. Dad hooked it up, man. That's so fun. Yeah. And, Yeah, I mean, so that's where kind of we met, and it goes all the way back then, and where your tennis career kind of began. Were you guys winning at Ramona?
We had a pretty good record overall.
What was the best year?
My senior year, our senior year was probably the best year we had.
Yeah.
We just kept getting better. Like freshman year, I had some good experience already, but like we were playing against juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
That were really good
Yeah.
from other schools. And then, just more experience, more time on the court, exposure. And then you kind of get to bond with the guys too more over the years, So everyone got better.
Yeah.
And then just kind of pushing it. I was doing a lot off site, just kind of further my game and stuff. So it just kind of played into that. So like my freshman year, I think I finished like 4th or 5th out of all the schools. And then by the senior year, I was able to win the whole thing. Like I won the league finals, and I went to CIF every year. But it was just like my best performance. It just kept getting better and better. So it was cool. It's good to see that hard work pay off.
Yeah. I remember you as basically just even-keeled guy, just cruising up in the Porsche.
Yeah.
Going to tennis practice.
Yeah.
Get the job done. Real laid back, easy going on the court.
Yeah.
Always had a good time.
Yeah.
Trying not to have any problems with anybody.
Yeah.
It was super fun season. And likewise, when I stepped in freshman year playing football, so I knew nobody in the school. I had like one friend in junior high. I'm not even joking. I went to Schmala Middle School.
Yeah.
I literally had like one or two friends because in elementary school at Monroe, I knew like everybody in the school. The reason that happened is from two reasons. Number one, I could throw the ball farther than anybody. So I could throw the football farther than anybody. So that immediately made me popular with all the guys. Then I was second fastest in my grade, so I could run fast, right?
Nice.
And then third, I could beat maybe 3 grades all in tetherball. So like they would all line up to play, and I would beat everyone in tetherball. I don't know how. I just developed this ability, and I think I just learned these tricks, like how to get it over the head of the person.
Technique.
Yeah, and then they just couldn't do anything, and I just get going, and boom, it'd be over. So I knew like everybody in the school by the time I was in 6th grade. Then I go to Schmala Middle School. All of my friends went to the other Sierra. Mm-hmm. Did you go to Sierra?
I went to Sierra Middle School.
Yeah, all of my friends went to Sierra.
Yeah.
And I went to Schmala.
Wow.
So I knew nobody. When I walked into Schmala, I knew like 1 or 2 people. And literally through Schmala, I'm like a loner for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Then I walk into Ramona, and I tried out for football my the 8th grade summer. 8th grade summer before freshman year started. And there was only one guy trying out for quarterback. So I'm like, dude, I like throwing the ball. Let me just try out for quarterback too. So I try out and I get the position. So I'm starting quarterback freshman year. And before I even got to high school, everyone knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody. I mean, I knew nobody. So I walked in, but we lost every single game except one.
First year?
First year.
Oh.
We lost hard, dude. And we had iconic players. I mean, these guys, when I think of each of them, some really, really extremely talented players, but we could not work together as a team. It's like all me guys.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Everyone's playing solos.
So everybody's playing solo. They couldn't work together. So anyways, we lost every single game, and we lost, dude, and we kept losing. We lost sophomore year, then we lost junior year. And I mean, I learned how to lose, dude. I would cry, dude, after my games. I was so sad losing. Then senior year, we made it to the playoffs. We started winning, and we made it to the playoffs for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
And then the next year after that, they took it to semifinals and almost won the whole thing. And so just kind of like what you were saying, like that progression of growing together with a team, you get a lot better over the years. Yeah. You're able to take it. Mm-hmm. So you stepped out of high school right into college, and did you have a trainer then, or were you just continuing to get reps at college? What was kind of the path to get to pro?
So right after high school, I had like a 2-year, 3-year period where I was taking some classes at community college, RCC, Fullerton College. I wanted to go into art school right after high school, but it was expensive. It was a big commitment. You do those tours like, hey, where do you want to go? And you check out some of these art academies and stuff. But I just like wasn't decisive, and rather than just drop all that money and like not be sure about it, I just was like, hey, I'll just pick up a summer job. I was working with my dad. He's an electrician. Was doing some of that, teaching a little bit of tennis. In high school too, the girls tennis coach, actually, Derek Takano, he was a history teacher too.
Yeah.
He hooked me up with this family that had a private court in their backyard. And he's like, hey, I can't, there's a few times where like he couldn't make it. And he's like, you want to teach these kids? I'm like, sure. So I kind of got my feet wet a little bit with that.
I see.
Knowing how to play tennis a little bit.
Yep.
Now like trying to teach it. It was fun, mess around with the kids.
Yep.
So that kind of got me into the teaching part of it. But in terms of like what I wanted to pursue for myself, I was just, I had my original coach in high school, and then I ended up going out to Murrieta. There's a place called Bear Creek. It was like private gated community.
Okay.
They had a really good tennis program, very high level. Like, I'm kind of pushing towards like San Diego County. My coach knew some people. My dad or my family like was able to put together like a little membership. Like we got some funds together. I got a membership out there. So I was driving to Murrieta a couple times a week just to train with these kids. And there's some really good coaches out there.
Okay.
And then, just kind of networking with people. And then that was like my second coach. He was high level college player, professional. He's hitting with all these pros. So he kind of took me to that next level. Dave Ramirez, shout out.
Shout out Dave Ramirez.
See this?
Yeah.
But it was just a long journey, but man, I was just playing tennis all the time. Tournaments every other weekend.
Wow.
In SoCal. Just trying to get a ranking and experience, And so from that, it just basically, I got a job at Victoria Club, actually.
Yep.
Right there in the Orange Groves.
Oh, yeah.
So I started working there and just kind of getting some experience in the tennis industry, trying to figure out if like maybe what I want to do is just start teaching tennis at a country club. And you got little benefits. You kind of rub shoulders with some like nice people.
Yep.
And then it was cool for a while. Got experience, but I felt like I could always fall back on that. I felt like I didn't reach my full tennis potential. And so then I just kind of pushed it further and further with that. And then got into, more tournaments, started getting some wins, ranking, and just more exposure. And then after that, kind of led me into trying out for these tournaments, a lot of pre-qualifying tournaments for these major tournaments, trying to get like ATP Tour points.
What's ATP Tour?
The tennis, basically the tennis community, like as an organization, associate for tennis professionals.
Okay.
So these guys are traveling the world, making some money too. But there's also ITF, which is International Tennis Federation. But like, you go there and try to, make it as deep as possible, win these tournaments and collect these points, and then you get your world ranking. It's just a tough field, man. Everyone's and California of the all around the world, it's like one of the toughest.
Is it really?
One of the toughest places. California, Southern California has a really good tennis. It's a high level. Florida's another one of them. So you got people from all over the world.
Yeah, when you compare it to other sports, how do you compare tennis? People think, it's just like somebody's hitting a ball with a racket, it's just like, you just got to hit it over the net, right? How do you explain it to people? What's really happening?
It's underrated in a lot of ways. Back in high school, flashback, it's just like the baseball guys, not so much, football guys too, big, strong guys, just ramming into each other. Tennis is a little different.
Yeah.
Still agile, but we're not crashing and butting heads.
Yeah.
You might twist an ankle or something.
Right.
But,
Well, we notice all the rich kids, rich families never put their kids into football or any of these other like...
liability.
Yeah, exactly. Liability. And so it's like, what are we doing? Maybe we should get into golf or tennis, what are we doing?
I got made fun of. They're like, "Oh, you play tennis. Oh, you're on the tennis team." Like we share the bus. Home and away matches. Like the away matches are like, "Oh, we're going with the baseball team today. Dang it! Oh, what's up? Oh, you play tennis. We got the tennis guys."
Yeah.
Made fun of, but I was like, "Hey, can you hit a ball this hard and keep it in the box?"
Right.
So, Yeah, it's kind of overlooked, but it's a really good sport. You got cardio. It's a fun sport.
And are you mostly, what is the focus? What is the primary focus in tennis training? Are you working on your hand? Are you working on your elbow? Are you working on the way you hold the racket? Are you working on the way you hit the ball? Are you looking at, certain, you know what I mean? Like or are there 2 or 3 major areas that people highly focus on?
I mean, footwork's huge.
Okay.
And then you got the hand-eye coordination. You got a racket that's going to hit a moving ball at different speeds.
Yeah. How fast?
Where serves could be upwards of 130, 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
And then you got forehands and backhands coming at you at, 80 to 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
Sometimes faster if you're just ripping
This is faster than a baseball. Big time.
Yeah, faster than a baseball for sure.
Yeah.
And you got, baseball has spins too, but this is hitting the ground and coming up. So a lot of movement. And, you got a net, but there's no limit to how high you can hit it over as long as it goes in the court.
Dude,
So
trip.
you could hit 30, 40 feet in the sky, and then if it goes in, point
Wow.
goes on.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, hand-eye coordination, technique is huge, but you got to get to the ball, and you don't know what to expect. Like it's, you're kind of playing off of the other guy's pros and cons, or sorry, like more or less like strength and weaknesses. So like for me, I had a pretty big serve, and I was just trying to crush the ball, but like come to the net, I have a pretty big wingspan, so I just kind of attack the net.
Yeah.
Keep the points short. I'm not trying to sit there and rally forever.
Yeah, your angle is probably insane. You're
pretty good.
You're 6'5".
Yeah.
And you said you could reach and touch 8 feet.
Yeah.
And then racket is 27 inches.
Yeah.
So you can technically come from a 10-foot angle.
Right, and if you get a little hop in there too, it just helps. You maybe jump six inches to a foot off the ground.
Yeah.
Launch up and just smash the ball down.
Right. If you jump.
Yeah.
Do you remember Randy Johnson? Randy Johnson's a pitcher for the Mariners.
Yeah.
I think he was a lefty, but he was like 6'10" or something. And when he stood on the mound, like he was like even that much higher up, and then his arm up. And so he would come down on the mound, and like this angle was like just absolutely insane.
Insane.
I don't know. I was just like kind of thinking that through. Like when you're standing there playing against somebody who's 6'5" on the other side of the court, it's like, angle has got to be insane.
Yeah, there's some advantages, especially for the serve.
Yeah.
Just like I said, if you get to the net, you got a good wingspan. They have to try to pass you, but it's like a small margin. The only way they can go is over your head, and they have to hit a really good deep shot. But I can reach a lot of balls. I might not
say you could reach as well.
Yeah.
You could just you just reach your arm out and bank.
Dink. Dink, my point.
Yeah. You could probably span the court very quickly with just a couple strides, and you're there.
Yeah. My footwork was sluggish and slower at first, but then I, got a speed coach and worked on conditioning and just kind of bringing up the fitness side of it. And then that helped tremendously. And then that kind of, when I started playing, right with that job, that Victoria club, I was able to like kind of branch off and start pushing the competitive side more and like lift my game up to a new level and just, just play better, faster, stronger.
Were you doing this during college or after?
Right before it.
Oh, before.
Right before it. I was trying to make a decision like, where do I go to school?
I see.
Different schools.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to Azusa Pacific University.
Yeah.
Applied there. Nice Christian college.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes from here.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, eastwards.
Great school.
Really nice school. Yeah, so great tennis team for my first year there. National champs.
Unreal.
Yeah, we had like an all-star team.
Wow, that must have been fun.
Really fun. We
had
guys
dominating.
It was hard work though.
Yeah.
But we had guys from all over the world. Coach was recruiting guys from like Germany, Australia.
Wow.
Hong Kong, all over the place.
And you won it for the first time in history for the school.
History, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we all came together and made it happen.
2005.
Good times.
And how long is the season?
It's spring season, so we go for a good 3 months, and then
how many games?
Wow, we played, I don't know, 10, 15 different schools. We had like a preseason.
Wow.
We had like scrimmages and stuff. And then like we'd play UCLA.
Wow.
USC, San Diego, and all these other D1 schools. We were NAIA, so it's like private colleges, like equivalent to like a D2, D3. Now it's officially a D2 school, but we were good enough to where we could kind of link up with these other schools.
That's fun to walk on these other campuses and just dominate and be like, what? Like D2, D3, what?
Yeah, we put up a fight. Yeah.
Dude, that's fun. So you guys, that must have been exhilarating to get the championship and then, I don't know, give some encouragement for the future, obviously give you more drive to want to just keep pressing in and keep pushing forward in your career. Yeah,
it made it more exciting too. I mean, when you start getting some wins, it's nice because it was a slow start at first. Like I said, I picked up a racket 11, 12 years old, really into it, very passionate about it. I loved it. When I got into it, I was like fully into it, I tried to hit the tournament scene a little early. My first memory is like maybe 6 to 8 months into like training with my coach, really loving it. I was like, yeah, I'm ready for the tournament. He's like, cool, I love your, attitude and motivation, but maybe we hold off on it a little bit. I was like, nah, dude. Like, I was watching Pete Sampras and all these other guys, like studs, I'm like, I'm going to win my first tournament the first time I try.
Yeah.
So that was my mindset.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I get beat by a kid half my size. That was just like moonballing the ball, I was just like in the parking lot crying. My grandparents and parents are there like, it's okay. But I just, I was just like, all right. It was tough. It was a tough loss because my fantasy was just like, I'm going to dominate the world.
Right.
But you have to aim high, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So lesson learned, I hit the courts, worked a little harder, and the progress, it came over time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just a wide range of experience over the years, from high school to college to the, now what I'm doing is I'm just teaching. Mm-hmm. So
you kind of have an expert mindset though in everything. Like, if you know Alex, he's kind of a precision guy. Like you really look at details, like you're obsessed with details.
Love the details.
And I love watching you be obsessed with the details, especially when it comes in contact with the Creator, with God, and watching His details.
Yes.
The things you point out and the things you see are just fascinating, and I love that. But you honed in on tennis, you locked in on it, and you just started like chipping away. Mm-hmm. And when people think of playing on a professional level, people are like, oh, he's pro, it's like, and people love the cool side of that, but a lot of people don't see the hard work and the hours, or I should even say seconds, like minutes, thousands upon hundreds of thousands of minutes of time, just like chipping and chipping and chipping and chip. What is it like lifting that weight, to actually get through? I mean, we haven't even crossed into your pro time, but like when you reflect back on, just all of this time, you said 11, 12 years old stepping in.
Mm-hmm. You just got to be dedicated. You got to be, like you said, locked in and have a vision and work hard at it. You can't just, some guys are a little more naturally talented for sure.
Yeah.
But that if you don't work hard, you see that even on the pro tour, now as I watch tennis, you the guys that are super talented. They're just kind of like in it for the money or whatever. They're just kind of like passing through.
Yeah.
Then you got the guys that are not as talented, working really, really hard. And those guys have the same results or if not long-term better.
Wow.
So, just dedication and not giving up.
Yeah. You said 5-6 days a week, huh?
5 to 6 days a week, and we're talking, right after school.
How many hours you think a day?
3 to 4 hours minimum.
Wow.
And then there's a little bit of gym in there too, but it wasn't heavy lifting.
Sure.
It was just like speed and quickness.
Yeah.
My coach would have me like, hey, run up Mount Rubidoux. Just walk it, jog it, sprint it, and then, I don't know what it is, like a 3-mile loop or something up and down or something, but he would just tell me all these little different things to do. And I hated legs.
Yeah.
Give me like, give me a dumbbell or something, but like legs,
right.
But that hurt, like you need speed.
Right.
So it's a balance. I just played to my strengths, my serve, my reach, more of a power game, kind of keep the points short.
Yeah.
And just pack a punch. Obviously like higher risk type of style.
Yeah.
You win quick or lose quick, if you're not on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a lot of repetition for tennis. Mm-hmm. I guess that goes for anything in life, right?
Yes.
But you just gotta do it right a lot of times so that it's like locked in and under pressure when you're nervous or playing a really good player or something like that. You know, it's gonna come out. So that was tough at first. So like you said, with football, a lot of losses at first.
Yeah.
But then you start to catch up, and then the couple wins that you get kind of like fires you right back up, and it's like you kind of forget about all that other stuff. You know?
Yes. Yeah. It feels good to win. That's for sure.
Heck yeah.
Oh, dude, the adrenaline and the euphoria, dude, of like an awesome win. You're just like, it's better than crying all those games. You know,
yeah.
just, I mean, it's like the passion on the other end is so high. I mean, it's like, it's the best. You know, you throw a game winner, you catch a game winner, you know, like, so, I mean, I just loved all that. I played some outside linebacker, and when I get a sack, you know, like I just lose my mind, you know, like I crush the quarterback, or, I mean, I loved all that stuff, get a good hit. But did you feel everything click at some point? Like, was there a point in the journey when all of a sudden everything just clicked in your mind? You're like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually pretty good. Like, I think I've got control of my body and my mind, and like I can actually tell my body what to do, and like it's you know, it's starting to work. I can, you know what I mean? Do you remember in the journey when all of a sudden it just locked and you're like, I think I can do this?
I would say that like out of high school, that period of just like working harder and being more dedicated just to like push it further. I'd say that came, like right before being recruited to college. I was like I said, playing these tournaments and trying to, you know, kind of get my name up there, get the ranking higher. Playing these qualifiers and stuff like that. And there's something called a futures. There's future tournaments, which are like entry level professional tournaments, and guys from all over the world are showing up, you know, and you got to basically declare if you're like a pro or amateur, because if you win money, like, you know, it could affect your eligibility and stuff. So I was rocking the amateur status.
I see.
Playing with the pros, because if I take money, then I'm disqualified. I can't like play for college, right? So there's kind of like a fine line there. I'm like, dude, what if I win though? That's like 5-10 grand,
right?
So it didn't happen, but you know, it was interesting to just like be around a lot of high level players and just push through it. And then that's how there's all these college coaches that are showing up to these tournaments trying to find out like who's in there and recruit people. And I ended up playing this guy, Adam Davidson, and I was actually wearing a "What Would Jesus Do" bracelet.
Really? And
then, hey, what's on? Oh, I noticed that little bracelet. And then he told the coach at Azusa, he's like, oh, I just played this dude. He's pretty good. Take a look. Oh yeah, you know, have you picked a college? Like, where are you going? This and that. And then that's how I ended up at Azusa. Like, it was just one of those options, you know. And then my family and I at the time were like, you know, thinking about it, praying about it. Like, where are you going to go to school? You know, San Diego looks nice. It's like a cool place.
Totally.
But then Azusa Pacific was the spot that I landed on. I got a little scholarship there, and then it was a good choice, you know. And obviously everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And so I just ended up there. That was an interesting thing though, being exposed to college. You know, I was kind of sheltered. Growing up, you know, soft at heart, very passionate, but just kind of oblivious to like the world. You know what I mean? And so that was eye opening. Just kind of raw, away from home, like not too far from home, but like college.
Totally.
Everyone's my age, but there's no parents around.
Right.
And I'm living on campus.
Right.
And it was an interesting you know, experience for sure.
Yeah. A lot of opportunities to sin, a lot of opportunities to run from God, a lot of opportunities to just party and have fun and do whatever.
Yeah.
With no regard, you know, like you said, no chaperones.
Right. Christian college, but that doesn't make it pure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So you, so again, you, I mean, that's when you knew like, gosh, there's something there. And, you stepped into college, they recruited you. You went through all this training. You guys won the nationals,
right?
And And then, you graduated from Azusa, and did you step straight into pro from there, or what exactly happened?
Well, it was right before Azusa. I was playing like 2 years.
Okay.
That's where I was trying to like figure it out, and that's why I got recruited. So I went to college after doing about 2 years.
Really?
Touring, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like reversed.
I see.
Most people go to college and then turn pro.
Totally.
I kind of did my little 2-year thing.
I see.
And I was like, well, college is a safe bet.
Got it.
And then, work through that. I actually went 2 years to Azusa, and then I transferred to University of Laverne for my final 2 years.
Okay, got it.
So I played tennis there as well for 2 more seasons.
What tour did you find yourself on, or what were you playing here? Were you, did you stay in California? Were you touring the States?
Yeah, it was a couple states, but mainly California.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's just so much activity here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't really have to go too far to get into these tournaments.
Did you find yourself up against or rubbing shoulders with any crazy players?
There's definitely guys, especially in college, like it being a private school, there's some different rules where like there was guys that were former pros, like top 1,000, top 500 in the world.
Wow.
That were playing in college.
Yeah.
There's, like little loopholes.
Yeah.
And so you got guys that are coming in to win championships.
Yeah.
But they're like in their late 20s.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, They're not like fresh out of high school. So there's interesting ways of going about it, but I don't know. It's kind of rigged a little bit, if you ask me.
and then, what is the pro circuit like? I mean, are you playing every weekend? Are you playing multiple times a week? Are you playing once a month?
I mean, tennis is one of those like year-round sports, so it is what you make it. If you want to play and you're injury-free, you can play as often as you want. But obviously, it takes money and stuff like that to like travel. And all that. But
so how does it exactly happen? Do you you accumulate enough points and then you're all of a sudden like certified to be a pro? And you have to apply for it, pay for it, step in. How does it work?
There's so many levels. There's like, at a junior level, there's satellite and open tournaments.
Yep.
And then you get a ranking. That's cool. Like that's like a Southern California thing or a Northern California thing. And then you can kind of graduate into bigger tournaments, higher levels. And there's age brackets as well.
Got it.
So you got 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s.
Oh, wow.
Once you cross 18, you're in the open level.
I see.
Men's open. It's like anyone's game. You could be a 12-year-old playing men's open if you want. But so after the open, it's pretty much professional level.
I see.
And there's levels to that too. We talked about hard work, dedication. Yeah. There's like different levels of pros. There's guys that are like, 2,000-3,000 in the world. And then you got guys top 500, you guys top 100, top 10.
Right.
It's like insane how much is going on.
So to get into these, so you could, once you step into pro level, you could, or you're on a certain level, you could potentially just walk into any tournament. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you sign up and you have a high enough ranking.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in.
I see.
It's kind of like prioritized.
Do you have to pay to get in, or do you pay for the season or whatever? How does that work?
It's not really like a membership type thing. It's, you pay to get into these lower level tournaments, and then you get the rankings, and then you get, sometimes some of the stuff is invitational.
I see.
There's like nationals. You're invited to go to this tournament because of, your status, your ranking. So, rubbing shoulders with these guys that were doing it before I was, and I was like kind of catching up to them, and then playing, getting some wins, and then kind of getting my own ranking. Yeah. Kind of opened up some new doors.
How was the 2 years when you reflect back on all that? Like just playing, was it a good experience? What'd you take away from it?
It was a really good experience. It's something to add to the resume too now. But I was able to, play at a very high level. Yes. And get some wins under my belt.
Totally.
And that just gave me more confidence to kind of keep moving in this direction. If I was just out there getting my butt kicked all the time, I don't know if I'd be in it that long, but like I said, over time it paid off.
And then it also, because you're playing at such a high level, probably stepping into the college level is just like fun.
It was really fun. It was like an upgrade from high school. Yeah. More goofing off, but with like
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially when you guys are winning, man, it's super fun. So, you talked a little bit about it, but what were your motivations? Did you have players that you were looking at? You talked about your dad a bit, this being one of his dreams. Like, what were your motivations, like, to really step in? Where'd the passion come from?
Just watching a lot of tennis on TV, honestly.
Who were your guys that you watched?
Pete Sampras.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like my idol, tennis idol.
Yeah.
Just he had the one-handed backhand. I was just literally trying to be him.
Yeah.
In my mind, and like the way I played, even my, like little gestures and stuff. Yeah. But just I don't know, just watching him, I was able to like run into him and say hi to him at Indian Wells.
Did you really?
Springs when I was a kid.
Oh, crazy.
I was like shaking,
Yeah.
you know, like dry mouth, like he said hi. We made eye contact, you know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, I just loved the game. It was just so fun and interesting. And I played singles, so it's all on you. Like, you know, you played football, so it's like a team sport.
Right.
I like the individual aspect of it. I don't know. I love team sports and stuff, but I just want to do it myself.
Yeah.
And I want to figure it out.
Yeah.
And win or lose, it's like on me.
Yeah.
So, but in college though, you know, we played singles and doubles. So you kind of have to play both. Mm-hmm. And that doubles is fun. I have a lot of fun playing that. I probably maybe a little bit more of a better doubles player, but I just didn't want a teammate. I just wanted to like play singles.
Yeah.
So I focused on that. And yeah, that's kind of where I spent most of my time.
What do you think about the pro level today? Like, I mean, you've been watching it for 20 years now, you know, or longer than that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about all the, I mean, there was a lot of eyes on tennis this last year, wasn't it? I mean, it was like pretty, it just seemed like everybody was posting games and like there was some like fire going on, like in the pro world.
There's some new, there's some older players exiting and some newer, you know, kids taking the spots, top spots. So, a lot of talent out there. The game has advanced a lot. You know, you started with like a wooden rackets way back when, and now you got like different racket technology and equipment, and not only that, but like psychologically, you know, you had X amount of years for people to study the game. Fitness is at a new a higher level, and so yeah, it's pretty extreme. I don't know how much more you can push the boundaries before it gets like artificial, you know.
It seems like unreal amount of money has come into this game as well, huh?
Oh, tons. Yeah. Now, I mean, if you look at
like the rich of the world are watching now.
Yeah. Like back in the day, you know, you got like John McEnroe making like 30K off of a tournament or something. And now it's like upwards of 3 million.
Oh my God.
For a major tournament.
Unreal.
It's insane. But that comes with, you know, media advertisements. It's just like, you know, it's all out there.
And so this passion kind of started with your dad, huh?
Yeah.
Did your dad put a racket in your hand?
He basically did, yeah.
Do you remember your first racket?
I do.
Yeah, what was it?
We picked up, I think we went to like, what was it, Sports Chalet?
Yeah, Sports Chalet, yeah.
Sports Mart?
Yeah. Stuff Tyler and Victoria?
Right there by the Galleria.
Yeah, huh?
I think that's where we picked it up. It was like a Prince. It was called Ace Face.
Tyler in Indiana.
There you go. Yeah.
And what was the racket?
It was a Prince Ace Face.
Nice.
I think I still got it in the garage.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, just a basic racket, you know, like knew a little bit about it, but just, you know, just needed a racket to hit the ball. And after that, the rest was history. I've gone through, I don't know, hundreds of rackets since then.
You hooked me up with a couple rackets.
Yeah, those
I still got them
in college.
I still got them.
Yeah.
They're great, dude.
Yeah.
Me and Katie take them out on the court sometimes. But your dad was dreaming about this in Romania, you said?
So yeah, he grew up in Romania, born and raised, and you know, he wanted to play soccer. Soccer's like a big sport out there.
Yes.
But, you know, it's expensive. Romania's like a third world country. It's obviously rebounded since then, but like, you know, we're talking about like in the 60s and 70s. That was like a no-go for him and his family. It's like, no, you're going to help me. We know his dad was like, no, you're going to help me around with he's like a mason. So he's tile work and all sorts of stuff. So no time for sports, kid, you know?
Right.
And so he always wanted to play soccer, couldn't, with his buddies and stuff. So then when he made it here, he's like, oh, tennis is always something I've wanted to do. And so he just, you know, started taking some group classes. And like I said, I just kind of popped out there one day, watched him do it, and I was like, this is kind of fun. And then I got involved in like a couple park and recs classes.
Yeah.
Kind of get some exposure. And that was okay, but kind of chaos, you know, like instructors, a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So then we started practicing. You started teaching me what he knew at RCC. There's like 10 courts there.
Huh.
And we just go there a couple times a week, play. And then, I just started loving it. And then we ran into like some people down there that were like coaching and teaching. A guy kind of saw me. He's like, hey man, you know, like you're pretty good. Like you want to, you know, you have an instructor, this and that. And we just made a friendship there. And then he started coaching me. And yeah, that's just spent all my time on the court.
Your mom and dad, they've been pretty supportive, huh?
Very supportive.
Yeah. Shout out to mom and dad.
Mom and dad, I love you.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah.
Love you, Dad.
Yes. I'm going to Disneyland. Yeah, no, they've been very supportive, and it's been awesome. They did both come from Romania?
Both.
Yeah. And you were born there.
I was born there.
Yeah. What's this story?
I was born in 1983.
Okay.
Timișoara, Romania. It's one of the bigger cities, but
You're pure Romanian.
pure.
100%.
Ancestry.com.
Yes. 100% purebred. Love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know much because I was born there, but we came here to the States in '84.
Okay.
So a couple days later, I ended up turning 1 a few days after we got here.
Got it. Yes.
So it was an interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Romania, kind of an interesting place. There was communism and stuff there. I'm sure if you're aware of that. And so there was just kind of like just a need to kind of get away from that. And from what they tell me, I was obviously a baby, but yeah, just politically, a lot of tension and stuff, and yeah, no freedom really like we have here. And so they just tried to get away from that and just start a new life. America, land of the great, home of the brave.
And your parents are Christians.
They are.
They love the Lord.
Very much.
And they love the Lord in Romania.
Yes.
And came here and built a life for you guys. And you, so you grew up knowing the Lord.
Grew up knowing the Lord.
Yes.
Day one.
Yeah. Which is like kind of the Romanian way.
Yeah.
Like we know the Ferduis. Shout out to Ferduis. And they sponsor the podcast with the Landmark Coffee Roasters and all the rest. But Stoked House promo code 20% off. Anyways, no, but like if you're in the Romanian family, like you're in like you're in the Christian world, like you're
for the most part it's like Christian or Orthodox.
Yes.
That's kind of like the main two.
It's almost like Christian mafia, kind of like, it's like once you're in the family, you're in the family, like, which I love it. I mean, like I love the culture, love the people, love the family community tightness. I mean, every tribe has its downsides and upsides, but really a beautiful people who have been trying to get everyone to be worshiping the Lord, walking with the Lord.
Yeah,
and so you guys grew up in the church then?
Grew up in the church. They were going to like a Pentecostal church. Well, when we first came here, I was a little older, Pentecostal church, Romanian, just like that was it, Romanian. Like there was no like real English. Obviously we're in America, but like, Pentecostal church.
You speak Romanian?
Yeah, I speak Romanian.
What, Alex? How did I not know this, dude?
Read, write, and speak.
Do you really?
My vocab is decent.
You can hear.
I understand pretty much 99% of it.
Whoa. Dude, I did not know that. I love these surprises. How did I not know this, man?
Actually, in college, I was able to like clip out of like languages because they like emailed me they like sent a package from BYU and they're like, just do this test, read, write, listen. And I was like, all right, knocked it out in like 2 hours, got like all these credits for it.
Dude, that's so cool. I didn't know that. I think it's because you feel so American to me. I would just never think, you know what I mean?
Accent. Yeah. I had an accent when I was a kid though.
Did you really?
Yeah. Up until, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade.
Wow.
It just kept like fading.
So do you speak Romanian with your parents sometimes?
It's like Romanian / English, like whatever word comes out first.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't dream in Romanian.
Yeah.
It's just all English.
No, I remember Brian Nguyen, he's Vietnamese, and I remember he'd be talking with his mom. He'd be going off like in Vietnamese, and he'd be like, he'd say an English word, and then he'd go back to Vietnamese, and he'd say an English
Coca-Cola.
word. Yeah. Walmart. It's just like, it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, for us, it's like every other word is Romanian. Okay. It's kind of funny if you actually heard us talk at home.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what are they saying?
Yeah.
It's like, is that a new language?
Huh. Well, yeah, like I wish I knew another language. It's just so sad that like we just don't. I mean, we grow up in a melting pot, of like so many tribes and cultures and languages, but it's like, if you grow up in America, your kids, the the chance of your kids growing up learning the language is very low. It's like It's like you kind of get one generation to do that, and then it's like obsolete. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But dude, incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they knew Romanian, very little English.
Right.
So for them, it's crazy. I don't know like how they did it, but they did it. We're here.
And they built a beautiful life for you guys.
They did. Very blessed. I have a younger sister.
Yes.
We're 4.5 years apart.
4.5 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out. And so you and your sister growing up in Riverside, California. And your parents are still there?
Still there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And they've come and visit Legacy before?
Yep. And they were there, I think, on the opening day.
Wow.
And Greg.
Yes.
They told me about it. I wasn't there at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, they were there on the what are they, ribbon cutting?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, we cut some spiritual ribbons.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. And so grew up in Riverside Elementary School. Jefferson Elementary, and then Sierra, and then Ramona.
Yeah.
And grew up in the Pentecostal church.
Yeah, we did Pentecostal and like Baptist. We were kind of floating around between those two.
Yeah.
And then, but like I said, it was a full-on Romanian church.
Okay.
And that was okay for a while, but it's like my parents wanted my sister and I to be able to connect.
Yes.
A little more. So they're like, now we're in America, so it's like let's just try to figure out a church that would benefit you guys as well, because their English was catching up.
Yeah.
And so we just we were going to a church in Fullerton, EV free. Mm-hmm. Chuck Swindoll.
There
you go.
Oh my God.
My dad was like always, when he was going to work, he'd always listen to like his radio.
Oh, dude, epic teaching.
Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest storytellers of all time.
Yeah.
Chuck Swindoll, man. There's just nobody tells a story like him.
Yeah. So I grew up, my dad was listening to him on the radio. Then we started going to that church.
So cool.
But then even with that, it was like still kind of just an English only American church, right? It was cool, but it was like kind of a big church.
Yeah.
And then, same thing. We kind of like, we'd always get together as a family, like talk about it, pray about it. Let's see, like my parents are obviously calling the shots, but, do you guys like it? It was like, it's cool, and then we started trying to look for other churches too. And then we found like another Romanian church, but it was like Romanian / English. Like they did like 2 services kind of a thing. And that was a Baptist church in Anaheim. And then we started going there for a number of years. And so, we settled on that. And then, so we were living in Riverside, driving to Orange County like a couple times a week.
Wow.
Bible studies and church on Sunday and stuff. We'd make it like a whole day. Sometimes we'd get out of church and then go to like Disneyland. My parents had the annual
That's cool.
passes back when they were like $50.
Yeah. Yeah. They were so cheap back then. They're like 1,000.
Yeah.
It's insane. But your parents were dedicated. They love the Lord. They are committed, like with precision committed, right?
Yeah. They're, just in it 100%.
Yeah. And do you remember any great experiences as a kid? Was the church pushing you away from God? Do you remember any like amazing moments with the Lord when you were a kid, or with your parents?
Yeah, we shared a lot of special memories. Even up until high school, and then, like I said, I departed off to college. But growing up, it was just very pleasant overall. Like the Romanian church was the Pentecostal church I mentioned earlier. That was cool, but how can I put this? Like, I didn't feel like super connected. It was like very interesting for me to be there.
Yeah.
Just like hardcore Romanian Pentecostal. And then, then trying it out for the American church. Also a little disconnect there. And then kind of the blending was better when we went to the other church, Bethel Baptist in Anaheim. We went there for a little while, but then, one memory that comes to mind where I kind of felt pushed away a little bit was like me trying to just be a part of like the youth group. And then, there's some older kids there at the time that, I was just looking up to. Honestly, I was just like a young kid looking up to them, and I was like, oh, I'm going to church. I want to make some friends. But they had this kind of interesting attitude where, even in the church, they're like, oh, we're better. Don't mess with us, little kid. Like, it's like, they were going surfing. I just want to be, kind of tap into that and hang out with them, crack jokes. But we went on these like retreats as a kid. Let's go to Big Bear cabin. Everyone's like Bible study, singing, all that. And like, yeah, I just felt kind of like a little bit of an outcast. So I made other friends there, and still friends with those guys to this day.
Really?
Yeah, but there's like a tear there, and so I was like, dude, I'm in the church. Like, what's going on with these kids? Like, why are they like being mean? And so that caused a little bit of a hurt inside me. Talked it out with my parents and stuff like that, and that was helpful. But yeah, I experienced that. But then there's also a lot of great things at church too, and a lot of experiences. One of my a really interesting memory growing up was like we were on the way to church, and it was raining, and I remember like we're all in the van driving to church, and like the van hydroplanes. My dad's driving, right, Toyota Previa,
wow,
the Eggmobile,
wow,
and just starts going sideways. Boom, hits the center divider, spins out, da da da, and like we almost like flipped over. Where it's like where the 71 and the 91 are splitting, like right there, right? You can kind of there's like a ravine. We ended up like spinning out of control, like water. I couldn't see anything, and then we just like ended up like next to the freeway on the shoulder, completely like parallel, and then just like car stopped. My dad's seat like snapped, and so he's like just looking up at the ceiling, and then we're all just like hyperventilating, right, crying. What's just happened? And then my mom's like, "It's okay, it's okay. God's in control. God's in control." And we're just like, okay, like it was just a reality check. Like what just happened? It was just a blink of an eye.
Right.
Our lives could have been done for, and we're on the way to church too. But we were safe. And then we were all like crying. I was like very emotional, obviously. Like what just happened? Adrenaline and everything. But just remember that God's in control. And that was like one of those moments where I just remembered like, wow, God is in control. And I knew my parents loved God so much. I knew about God. Through them, through other people and stuff. But it was like one of those things where you grow up and I hadn't experienced him yet, like personally.
Yeah.
But I knew he was there.
Yeah. Because
I saw my parents' faith was so real. And I just knew like, man, if they believe it, it's one of those things that you just trust. I trusted my parents so much. They never broke my trust.
Yes.
They always loved me. And, they raised my sister and I really, really well.
Yes.
And they always like, sacrificed for us.
Yes.
And so that just always stood out to me. And so, we continued going to church and this and that. And then later on, we ended up in Riverside, and we started going to Magnolia Avenue Baptist Church. And that was cool because I was plugged in. I was in high school already and made some friends there. Good times, doing like little mission trips and stuff like that, kind of getting exposed, like a little more hands-on instead of just like sitting in the back seat or in the back of the church, like listening to a message.
Totally.
It was more like, oh, now I'm doing something in the church.
Right.
So high school ministry was cool. But with that came more independence, right? I got my driver's license now.
Yes.
Come and go.
Right.
I was going to Sunday nights at Harvest.
Yeah.
In and out of there. And then boom, college hits. So I continued in my journey, like going to a college that was Christian. But like I said, the reality of the world is around us. And so it's like, you had mandatory chapel, but everyone's trying to find any way out of that, Oh, I'm sick. I got whatever, but you had to like lock up a few hours every semester, whatever. And, you just do it like formally. There's so many distractions, and so there's like this pull, like I want to go to church, but then like I want to do my own thing now. And it's just, it's a weird place. But, I mean, what can you do, So
the pull of the world and the pull of college especially is it's great. I mean, the pull is massive because you're young and you want to go and have fun with everybody else, and there's something about when the door breaks open and you're able, it's kind of like when you get your license for the first time and it's just like you're driving away in your car and you're just like, wait, like nobody's in the car with me and you're just driving by yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, like if I want to cross over this line, I can right now.
Yeah.
If I want to run through this, stop sign, I can right now. It's like nobody can stop me. It's like, and you feel the power of being able to break rules, and until you get pulled over, right?
Right. I got my first ticket like a week into my driver's license.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, the same thing happens spiritually, right? The same thing. It's like, I know these things are wrong, but it's just like, I kind of want to test the boundaries. I want to do stuff anyways. And we have to learn the hard way. We got to learn the hard way around. And so, it seems like most Christians or most people who are raised in the church kind of have this moment where they decide to kind of go off on their own. Like they just want to, they want to take the reins for a while and kind of go driving on their own. And the Lord has a way of bringing them back in full circle. So you kind of refer to your college years as a time of wandering or a time of drifting.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was an exciting time for like sports, tennis.
Sure.
But then just being, there with other people, campuses, different sports, just, I was working like a little part-time job at a country club.
Yep.
Up in San Dimas.
Okay.
Like teaching tennis and stuff.
Yep.
Going to school, picked up a couple other like random odd jobs. But the college life is interesting. Like I said, it was a Christian college, but, rules are being broken all the time.
Right.
Parties and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, that was new for me. Like if I had a party up until then, it was like with kids at church.
Right.
Very like,
right.
Low key. Just,
right. We ate more candy than we were supposed to.
You want some fruit punch? Like now in college, it's like fruit punch with stuff in it.
Right.
Just took it overboard. I was very, I don't know, like I have kind of an addictive personality.
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned earlier, like I kind of like a perfectionist, but that turned bad. Like I turned it into a competition.
I see.
Like, oh, okay, like who's gonna drink the most?
Right.
Or, all right, I win. I beat you in that. Like what's next? Oh, you want to do this and that, and so it's just it actually, it's I went from like innocence to like filth real quick, and then it was just a wild like spiral. It got pretty weird and nasty, Mm-hmm. I got myself in a lot of trouble and, just deterioration spiritually. What my parents were trying to like warn me about and like preserve. I was out there like on my own, but like I said, it's a personal thing because like, we talk about being equipped, putting on the full armor and stuff, but like up until that point, I wasn't putting on the armor myself. It was like my parents were armored up and kind of like leading the way, but I was hearing it and being a part of church and stuff like that. But college like took over, and it was weird, really weird, because I had different expectations going in. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play tennis. It's gonna be great. It's a Christian school, so I'm like well balanced. That's where it kind of took a turn. And then, that kind of took me down a really dark path for over a decade of just like more decisions stacking up, and then like shame and weight and guilt. And it's just kind of like a weird pattern that built. And it was tough to break out of that. I did not do it on my own. Who was there for me? My parents were always there for me. God was always there. Even though like I wasn't turning to them as much, my parents and God, I had that lingering like feeling in my heart, like you know what you're doing is wrong. I was too ashamed to like admit it, but they'd be like, hey, come visit us for Easter, Christmas, and like birthdays and stuff like that, and they'd be like, oh, our tradition is like, we go to like church for like Christmas Eve and things like that. I'd go to church and I felt like there's like this knot in my body, feeling the conviction.
Wow.
Just couldn't break free. I told my parents when I like finally came back around full circle, it was like, I felt like I was in a cage. I had no power to break out of what I got myself into. It was it's a weird thing because everything else I put my mind to, I was pretty much doing it, but the spiritual stuff is weird.
Interesting.
It's really weird. It's a whole new level. Like you can't necessarily see it, but you see the effects of it, right? And then, like I said, it was just like a vicious circle. I just kind of kept, I already messed up my life. I'm just gonna, what's another thing? And then I feel guilty, and I'm, let me do some other stuff to kind of like take my mind off of it, And so, 10 years of doing that, you form habits. Just like I was playing tennis, let's just say tennis for 10 years.
Right.
Good reps. Oh man, I'm seeing improvements. I was doing the other thing spiritually.
Wow.
And just like creating some really bad stuff, And so now, I just turned 40 last year. It's even to this day, I have like a lot of things that I'm working through, because of the choices I made. And I can't blame anyone but myself.
Yeah.
We live in a very dark world, but there's also beautiful things in it, and light, and God is light, and it's a good place to be in for now. You just got to persevere and push through it. And I'm in definitely a different season.
Yeah.
Not where I used to be.
Right.
Thank God for that. But it's been a journey, and it's tough to kind of, work through sometimes.
What was the turning point? Was there a moment when all of a sudden did God open the clouds? Did your eyes were open, like all of a sudden? Because it's really interesting when you contrast that. It's like you're saying there's almost nothing I couldn't put my mind to, and I could make something happen. Like if I want to do something. With all the discipline and the reps of tennis, it's like equipped you to basically conquer almost anything in life that you want to. It's
right.
like, but it's like for some reason spiritually you felt trapped or in a cage. You couldn't break out of this thing. Do you remember the moment, like all of a sudden the lights turned on, or do you remember the moment of like chains broke free, or like, cage door opened and you just walked out? Like what happened?
It was right before I started going to Legacy, when you saw me walking through the doors in 2016 in the fall. So earlier in the year, I was like at the end of like this relationship. I was kind of broken again. I'd just gone through, just like all these cycles. It was like always the same thing.
Right.
I was chasing a relationship. It was always with a girl or something, or just things. And then same thing. I kind of came back around, like broke up, and then just kind of like at this point where like just got myself into trouble, was doing stupid stuff, sports cars, racing, tickets, like just a bunch of dumb stuff, and then my buddy from Florida, I actually ended up moving out to Florida right after University of Laverne for like 3-4 years almost. Moved out there, came back to California in 2011, but then in like 2016, my friend from Florida, Sam Wagner, love the guy. Huge friend to me over the years, a believer. But we formed a cool relationship out there, and we did a lot of the same things in Florida when I was working and living out there. And he's like, hey, I'm coming out to Cali, dude. I'm going to visit you for a couple of days. And then we just linked up. He stayed at my place. And then one night, too, we were just like chatting. And then he's like, let's just go for a walk. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. We're just like staying up all night talking. And then we're walking down the street where I used to live, and then we weren't looking at each other, we're just like shoulder to shoulder, and then he just like slaps me on the back, and I felt like it was a bolt. It was the weirdest feeling, like a lightning bolt, and it just rippled through my whole body. And he's like, dude, we need to get right with God. And I'm just like, what? Like, we always goof around. We talked about spiritual stuff and God and this and that, but we're kind of, both kind of messing around and stuff. It was just like a download moment.
Wow.
And I'm just like, dude, like, you're right. I can't disagree with you. And I know he cares about me, loves me very much, but like, I had a trust with him, like we had kind of done the same stuff in life, been through some of the same situations, and both seeking God, but like struggling, Let's get right with God, man. Like you got to get right with God. Put him as a priority. He was always like a good voice of encouragement.
Wow.
I had that from my parents and other people too, but like in that moment, God used him, Hey, you're right, dude. And we're at that point, I was like partying and doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I knew he was right. And then after that, man, it was just like it was in March of 2016. That kind of set, like he kind of just like hit the first domino flick, and then boom, 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 boom. And I just started like kind of, let me read some Bible verses again and like start praying again, and just kind of like, it was not like overnight again, but like little by little. And then leading up to like November, it was like man, I'm going to go to, like my parents are like, dude, you should go to Legacy. Josh is there, you know, for 2 years. They're like, dude, like you live right there in Azusa or Monrovia or whatever. Go to church. There's a church right down the street from you. I was like, yeah, we'll see. I'll get around to it. You know, there was a hold on me, like I said. And then I got the courage, not me, but God put it in me to like, just, you know, get in the car and go to church, go. And then there I was. The first person I remember like pulling up, I'm like, what is this place? Like, you know, like school, driveway. And then there was Mark Larson and Will Fair.
Yeah.
I rolled the window down. I'm like, is it cool if I park here? Like, this is Legacy? Or you're like, yeah. And I walk up, handshake, and then friends since. But it was just a domino effect. And God knew that was the way it was going to happen.
Crazy, man.
You know, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that 10 years prior. Who knows what would happen? I I 100% shouldn't be here. It was God's protection and provision, you know?
Yes. No, I can't help it. I'm going back to your mom saying God is in control.
Yes.
Right. And praise God for Sam. Who is this guy?
Sam Wagner.
You know, praise God that he took the risk, right? You know, sometimes we got to take risks on our friendships, you know, and just say, hey, dude, we got to get right with God, like right now. Like, come on, you know, and you know, he's not being a jerk when he's saying that. He's saying like 1,000 other things. He's like, I care about you deeply. Like, you know the right. Like, we got to do this now, you know? And he pushed the first domino, praise God. And the Holy Spirit shows up and just takes over, and the rest is history. You know, we get on this journey with God, and the Lord just starts stacking everything, you know? It's like, it's not that storms don't keep showing up. It's not that the sin doesn't keep showing up. It does, but it's dealt with differently. We're on a journey now, just walking with the Lord.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one thing to be walking on the journey without the Lord and coming along all across all these crazy things in life. And we just see, like we just keep going further and further down into the valley. But it's like, once we get on the path walking with the Lord, and you're right, and that decision is finally made, you know what? I'm going to walk with the Lord. It doesn't mean we're going to have struggles and all kinds of things go. We are. But it's this trajectory, this long-term trajectory, you know, 30, 40, 50 years upward, you know? And it's beautiful to see that. I'll never forget, man. It was just like, you walk into Legacy, I'm like, what the? Are you kidding me, dude? Yeah. Alex Muresan at Legacy. This is wild. I mean, because again, dude, you never know, like, you know, you just, I don't know all the backstory and history as to how you walk through those doors.
Yeah.
But it's a trip for me because, you know, you don't expect somebody from high school just all of a sudden show up in LA of all places in Studio City, because it's like, I feel so far from home, maybe not mile wise, like I'm only an hour and a half drive, you know, from my hometown.
Yeah.
But I am like light years away culturally. I mean, I'm in another planet, right?
It's way different.
Yeah, dude. It's like, just to see anybody from our hometown in Los Angeles would just be really weird. You know, this doesn't happen very often. Yeah. So it's like when you walk through the door, and then so cool, you connect with Mark Larson, who's an elder now. Will Fair was a deacon a long time. And you get connected with the brothers and start showing up at church. And yeah, man, since 2016, and we are now 2024. And so I
came in 2 years after.
Yeah, it's been almost 8 years.
Yeah.
Incredible, man.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to add one thing too, real quick. So like leading up to like my walk up to the, you know, to the church, like before all that happened, there was a time where like I got on the phone and I remember calling my dad. Hey, can you talk? Yeah, what's up? And I just like broke down. Dad, you know, like, I'm sorry. And just like, I don't know, like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was like remorse and sadness and like, but also kind of like happy to tell him to get this off my chest, you know? And can I see you guys? Yeah, come on. And they're always like, you're always welcome to come home.
Yeah.
Always, like, no matter for like good reasons or bad reasons, like you can always come home, you know? And yeah, I just love my parents for that. They've always just loved me so much. And I put them through a lot, you know, but they've always been praying for me. I know that they just, they're number one priority in life is to make sure that I know God and that I'm walking with Him. If I'm doing that, then they've done their job, basically.
Yes.
Rich or poor,
Wow.
healthy or sick, whatever comes across, right? But they always stress that, like your relationship with God. I don't care how you look on the outside, what's going on the inside. God cares about your character. God, it doesn't matter like what you do for a living, but just, do right by God, like pursue God. But yeah, I broke down, and like one of the most special moments I have coming back into the church after such a long drought was like having that conversation with my dad. And then like, I know that they must have been so happy,
Yes.
just hearing that. But I mean, I can only imagine if I had kids and like that was like, I just put myself in their shoes, this kid, like he's getting himself in so much trouble. Like, what's this kid doing? But what happened was right before I attended Legacy that Sunday, the Wednesday before, I was like, how Harvest has like midweek, like Wednesday service. So I was like, I want to like go and surprise them. I want to surprise my parents at Wednesday night.
Wow.
So I got off work and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to make it, traffic, this and that. And I'm just like, I get in the car, God, like, like he knew where my heart was at. And then, Harvest is a pretty big spot. Like every parking spot was taken when I finally arrived.
Wow.
And I was literally like the service had probably already started like 5-10 minutes in. But like, I was like frantic and I like, man, you know what? I'm just going to take a risk and go to the front. Like the front of the church, like, how it's like all the way back by the airport.
Sure.
So I was like, I don't know. I just like felt this like, maybe I'll get lucky, obviously.
He's going to try to find a parking spot
like
up front.
Right in the front of the spot. Like what am I thinking?
Yeah.
Josh, like I turned left, like in the middle aisle and there was one spot in the very first spot.
Yes.
Like like everything's full, but one spot for me. Like didn't have to like panic or walk, I was like, I just was like, thank you, God. Like,
yes.
Like you reserved a spot for me.
Yes.
Like, oh man. So that Wednesday night was the first time I was able to take communion. With my parents.
Yes.
And I kind of like snuck up on them. I knew where they would sit.
Yeah.
They would always sit like next to this like pillar, like by the video guy.
Yeah.
They were there. They were there like they always were.
Praise God.
Communion of all things, man. I got like, my heart needed that, wow. I'll never forget that. Yeah, it's a feeling. I don't want to put too many words to it. It's just like a special thing. But like God knew what I needed, He knew I needed my parents. My parents needed me. I needed Him the most, and He was there. He never went anywhere. Like God never abandoned me. I abandoned Him. But man, there's like snot coming down, like I got on my knees. I just broke down. I was just crying pretty much for like 20 minutes or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Man, I felt like tingles, like just, I don't know. Really wild. But yeah, just kind of the night was a blur, but I was just like so happy and like so much weight off my shoulders just to be there and like take communion, like something that I hadn't done in so many years,
Wow.
It was just a really special moment. I had the front seat, front VIP, like parking spot, communion, parents, just.
Dude, you got to build a mural or a painting with this phrase on it. You reserved a spot for me. Dude, that's crazy. Because that is shouting so many things like in that phrase, right? And it just so happens to be the place where reconciliation happens with God, with your parents, in communion. Like, I can't help but reflect on this moment with your dad. It's like, my son was lost and now he's found. It's the prodigal son story.
100%.
You know, it's like 10 years, you know, it's like you pour everything you can into your son, your firstborn, you know, he's a superstar. And you just want nothing more than anything. Like you're stoked he's a superstar, but you just want him to worship God.
Yeah.
And it takes all this time. And who knows how many hundreds or thousands of prayers your mom and dad prayed. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't even, you know? But this is a scare for me. And I'm just like, God, please, like let my kids worship you and know you, you know? But dude, your parents are awesome. Awesome. Just their consistency and testimony to so many people around them and so many parents. And no one's perfect. No parents are perfect, right? But man, just persistence and prayer, just trusting the Lord, trying to do the right thing, trying to love and serve their kids. I mean, all the stuff, and then get to enjoy that moment, you know, of communion with their son. It's just like, dude,
yeah,
you know, he reserved a spot for me.
Yeah.
Reserved a spot for me.
So special.
He did reserve a spot, and it was divine.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just a beautiful painting, like a beautiful picture, like of redemption. Like that is the gospel, dude.
Yeah.
That's the story. That's what God does. Why does that move us?
Yeah.
Why does it like mess us up? It's the greatest story in all of history. And like it happens over and over and over again. I've heard it so many times, dude.
Yeah.
And it still just like wrecks me every time. It's the best story in history. Mm-hmm. And there is no greater joy than to hear that my children like are walking in truth.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know, you know, not that the struggles don't continue, not that all of the ups and downs don't continue. They do. But the beautiful thing is like, hey, once I was lost, now I'm found, you know, I'm home. And your parents can at least rest at night knowing that their son knows God and is going to walk with them all the days of his life. And so shout out to mom and dad, man, for just like plowing the ground for all these years and just trusting the Lord. And he's still doing the work.
Absolutely.
Still working. What in the world are we doing on the podcast telling the story now, dude? This is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Full story.
Yeah. Thanks to God. And like you said, their commitment, they took it seriously. You know, I got baptized in 2002 with my sister at Magnolia Avenue.
Yes.
That was a special moment. I was, I think, 18 at the time. It was right before, you know, heading off to college, basically. You know, had some really special moments with my family, like huddled together praying. Certain things were happening in our lives, and you know, felt led to be baptized, to make that public profession. And I'm happy I did that. You know, I'm just sad that I didn't continue strong in my commitment. You know, I keep looking back at that, but I know God like loves us and forgives us if we just come to Him. Mm-hmm. But that's, you know, you make a commitment and I just broke the deal. You know, that's kind of tough, you know, being on that end of it. Mm-hmm. But I just think that, like I said, everything happens for a reason. I'm stubborn, you know, I kind of want to do things my way, but learning to, you know, trust. Like now I'm, you know, checking with my parents, like, what do you think about this and that? Like you said, nothing's perfect.
Right.
I'm learning, I'm growing. You know, now I'm having to make my own decisions, but like it's a different angle.
Yes.
Versus just going crazy and like who cares, you know? Reading more devotionals, like going to church. So, you know, this is my story, and God knew that I would end up where I was at, but you know, He knew where to meet me too. It was like very cool ways of like Him speaking to me on a personal level, where like only I would know that it was Him. You know, like it's not like oh, this applies. I mean, some things apply to everybody, but this is like some really intimate things that He did for me to just like catch my attention and like this is you, like I'm talking to you, Alex. You know. And so, yeah, it's very amazing to like see how big He is, and He doesn't overlook, you know, talked about like how many billions of people have been on this planet. He knows each one by name. He brought us into this world for the purpose of us getting to know Him. And so the more you go without that, like the more pain you're going to experience. But now if you go through pain, like you have Him there, you can get by, and like, it's not always easy, but we can rest assured in his promises, and, yeah, I'm just so thankful that I was born and that, I was raised in a Christian family, and, that, I'm here in America, and this is my story. I'm not like on a farm in Romania.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yes.
And I got my own little circle.
Yeah.
And I'm around these people that God is putting me
Yes.
in contact with, and he's also using other people to, it's just like an interesting web of connections. But we're just here to help each other out. Like you said, love God and love our neighbors, and so just trying to do the best I can.
Yeah. The story is beautiful because of the redemptive points. Not that like if you're raised in a Christian home, became a pro tennis player, and just continued being a Christian, like, and everything was perfect, like
That's too boring.
Yeah, it's like it's of course, who doesn't want that,
Right.
But it's like the story becomes 1,000 times more beautiful when God gets involved in saving. It just is the truth, and that is the story of all humans. All humans have this depraved, dark side of them in which we must be saved. And that is, when it does come full circle and you get to hear the details of the story, it impacts. Maybe there's some listening today that you, I don't know, that might be struggling. Maybe they're in a wandering season. Any words, for those who are kind of working through something right now, maybe in a wandering place, or maybe they know God, but maybe they're just not close to him, or they want to be closer to him, Yeah, anything at all.
I would just say that it's important not to give up. Just know there's always hope. It's not over till it's over, and just, if you can't put it in words, like, maybe just write it down. Maybe start a little journal. Write down some thoughts you have, something you're working through. It could be a short prayer. Sometimes I wouldn't, even be able to speak. I was just crying, or just, I wouldn't even say it out loud. It's just in my head thinking about it.
Yeah.
But like, reach out to God. He's listening to you in a very, he's listening to you, like, word for word, and he's in real time listening to us, and he's with us. And so we just need to reach out to him. And it's sometimes a little scary, and I don't want to do it. It's been such a long time. I know I feel like that sometimes. I miss a week or two at church or whatever happens. They're like, oh man, I forgot to pray today. It's easy to like just go back to like default mode and just be like, it's, like I said, it's like that pattern that I'm trying to break, which is like, I've messed up, and what's the point? Like, God doesn't love me. Like, I've let down all these people, but it's not over, just keep, just optimistic attitude is very helpful to kind of get you through that, because, it's just going to get worse if you don't, honestly. Like, I've tried that other way, and it just doesn't work. So it's not easy, but it's something you got to just work at, and it's basically got to sometimes force yourself, take initiative, go against your gut. Sometimes the gut wants to say, like, don't do this, step back, retreat, cocoon. The goal is to just break. That's the enemy right there, just trying to lock you up again. And so God wants to set us free, and he does. He forgives us. He loves us.
Yes.
And so with that openness and love, like, we need to respond, man, woman, young or old, like, we need to like actually respond to that, and just push through it. And then it'll get better over time.
Yes, he's a father waiting for his kids to come home.
Absolutely.
He's not going to slam the door.
Yeah.
The door is wide open. He's hoping and praying and waiting, like your dad, he's just waiting and waiting. And so when the phone call comes, he's not bummed. He's stoked. He like can't believe his son's calling,
Yeah.
And that everything's happening. And that is the heart of our God. That is the heart of the Father. He is ready to forgive. He is ready to make things right. He's always ready to will. He is not ready to shame. He's not ready to slam doors. Not even close. Like, his arms are open wide. And so, brothers, sisters, anybody listening, come close to the Lord today. Dude, it's time to get right with the Lord.
Absolutely.
In Jesus' name, it's time. And so, We got to remember that. We got to be reminded of these things. Doesn't matter how long we've been walking with the Lord. We always need to be reminded of these things, these truths, and God will do that work, dude. Where can people? People can't find you anymore, huh?
I got banned on Instagram.
Nice. I was gonna say, how can people come? People want to do tennis with you. People want to. It's kind of maybe show up at Legacy. You'll find Alex running around, and you want to get in the tennis game. You can make a connection there.
Yeah. Social. I got a Facebook and stuff, but I'm not on it a lot. I try to stay away from that stuff. More these days.
Yeah. So you got to show up in person.
Got to show up in person.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
My phone number starts with 951.
Dude, we didn't even get to get into art and all that stuff and all the fun creativity, but you get to know Alex. You get to know full creative side of he is thinking through things on different dimensions that I love. Yes. But a beautiful brother. And dude, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And for telling the story, and for it's just fun to reminisce, man. It's fun to see what God has done full circle. And now here we are, 2024, on the podcast, on the Stoked House, getting fired up, and spending some time together. But dude, you're a beautiful brother. You're an awesome guy. The Lord has continued the work that He started, and I know He will finish it. And I know the journey's just getting started. There's so much more to come. But I love you. I'm thankful for you, and believe in the best in the years to come.
Yes.
And shout out to mom and dad and sister.
And sister.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show today. We really appreciate you. And it would mean the world to us if you would like or subscribe, and you would write an honest review for us. It's one of the fastest ways to get the word out for us and to share it with others. And so if you don't like texting for a review, you can always voice to text. That's a fast way to write one and really help us rate the show and get it out to the world. Thank you so much for listening again. We hope it continues to bless you and encourage you each and every week, and of course, leave you stoked.